So a lot of you guys have been asking me how I keep track of all the temperatures and everything in all the building, the pond water, the incubators. And it's really simple, especially since I do all this stuff by myself. I have to keep track of stuff when I'm away from the house. I work a full-time job, so I don't get home till 3:30 or 4 during the week. But LaCrosse makes some amazing sensors. So as you can see here, I have BC high, BC low, BF1, BF2, BF1 or F1, and then F2, and then water. So if you take a look at these, BC high is actually the big crock enclosure on the upper high of the enclosure. It's about a foot from the very top of the enclosure, so about 15 feet off the ground. And you can see the actual sensor on the box is at 109.9 and the probe is reading 95.1. The humidity is really low up there because we run, that's right where the skylight and the UV comes in. And these will update every 5 minutes. And I can also set alerts on here. So this one at 95.1 says no alerts set. So if I hit the plus button right next to it, I can type whatever I want into here as far as goes above, 102 or drops below 70, and then I can set the actual alert types to text message, email, or both. Usually I select both just because you might as well. And if we go back and look at the sensors, you just click devices and go back. So now we have the big crock low. So this is the lower section of that huge enclosure. The humidity is obviously much higher at 51%. When the misting system kicks on, that kicks on 4 times a day, this will go up to 80%, and we'll hold 80% for a few hours. We're about ready to have the misting system kick on again. I think it kicks on again at 11 a.m. and it's 10:30. So, and this is kind of your ambient. So the probe reading and the normal reading, the actual box reading is at 86 right now. And I don't have any alerts set on that. But what's cool about these probes too is also at the bottom of the screen, you can see last seen at 11/8/2019, and then link quality is 100%. So if it's too far away from your hub or close enough, and then it tells you the battery as well. So it'll tell you when the battery gets too low, so you're not without power on your probes. And then the BF1, that's the big fridge 1, big fridge 2, and then F1 and F2 are the smaller fridges 1 and smaller fridges 2, and these are the incubators. So there's a green check mark next to the 83.1, and that means that I have alerts set for that. So if you click on it, you can see the temperature on the left-hand side. That little graphic shows 85 max, 76 minimum. And so if the range ever goes out of those ranges, it'll send me a text message and alert me right away. Usually it means the power is out. It'll also send you an alert if the last scene ends up any significant amount of time. And what's cool about these is you can name them whatever you want. You literally just connect them to the hub and then stick them in the enclosure wherever. They're completely wireless. They run on 2 AAA batteries. And if we click on water, this tells me the water temperature of the pond system. So I literally just have this thing mounted on the wall by the river, and there's a probe that runs down into the water. Our water is on a chiller, so it keeps the water at 78 degrees all the time. And what's cool about 78 degrees specifically is that that's the temperature that the animals lay their eggs at. So if they're going into the water or drinking the water or out of the water, they're not changing their body temp so significantly as far as getting it away from the temperature that the eggs naturally incubate. So it should, in theory, help the animals thermal regulate without having, some negative effects on the animals. But this is a really cool thing to have if you're in the monitor trade and you want to kind of, keep tabs on everything. This stuff is really inexpensive. I think each of the probes is about $25, and then the hub is another 20, and you only need one hub and you can connect all the probes to it. What's really cool about this system as well is that if you decide that you want to connect some more sensors on a hub that is not connected to the same wireless Wi-Fi system or router system as your original, you can still link them all to the same account. So for instance, the building in the croc monitor breeding facility has its own Wi-Fi system. So it has its own internet system out there that is different from the home. But I have hubs connected at both spots that are for the sensors that are within the range in the building and the sensors that are within the range of the hub in the house. So those are all connected through this app, and I don't ever have to really worry about any of that stuff. So that's a little, this is one of the really cool things you can do if you decide you want to have incubators and stuff and keep track of your animals' temperatures. So it's really, really neat, really inexpensive, really easy to set up. And there's no substitute for peace of mind, especially when you're keeping large animals and expensive animals, and you have eggs incubating. And you're not home very much, so make sure that you keep track of all this stuff. What's another really, really awesome thing about this is, so check this out. One of the features that I love is if I want to keep track of how often that cage goes up and down in temperature or whatever, if I click on BC Low, which is the big croc monitor cage in the lower area, I can click chart down here on the bottom, and it shows me all of the temperature changes over the last 24 hours, and I can kind of swifle through these so you can see how much the temperatures have changed, what time it was. The blue is obviously humidity, the red is the sensor in Fahrenheit, and then the probe temp, which is in the green. So this is really, really cool. Then you can switch it over. If you see down there it has a D or a W, you can switch it to the W, which is weekly. So it shows you how the cage goes up and down and up and down and up and down throughout the day. And the humidity just kind of spikes and then drops off, and you can tell that is exactly corresponding to when the misting systems kick on and off. So it's really, really neat. It gives you the percentage of humidity and all that stuff as you can cycle through, and it gives you all that info. And same thing up here on the temperatures and everything. This is really, really neat for somebody like me who documents everything. It's really cool to have, and it's just another awesome feature about it. You can even look at a table version of the graph, so you can go through and look at the times of day and the temperatures, and this is every time that the sensor sends information, and this, you can scroll forever on this. I mean, this is pretty amazing, and it's pretty cool. So if you haven't gotten one of these or you want to get one of these systems, make sure you do it. It's one of those neat little things that makes a huge difference, especially if you're doing a lot of things that haven't been done before, and you want to document everything and keep track of it. So pretty cool. Keep feeding.